Hey yo, salute to all my subscribers. Special shout out to everybody else passing through. Salute to the people. It's a social forecast. YouTube, what's good? Alright, so a few days ago, first of all, I fuck with tall guy car reviews. I fuck with that channel heavy. Never really been super into cars, but yo, anybody, look like me, come from the same background as I do, involved in some of the same past experiences that I have myself been involved in, as well as people that I know, people in my family. I'm always going to respect somebody who's doing positive things to put their life in a positive space. And so, I fuck with Tall Guy's channel. I fuck with Corey's channel heavy. You know what I'm saying? Keep doing what you do. People out here like me who continue to support your channel and the whole movement that you and Organic got going on over there, and all the other people that you link up with and collab with. Now, having said that, right, because this is the type of shit that I don't care what I'm doing on this channel, I gotta speak on this type of shit. And I hate that it seems to be more often than not that there's racially involved things, but no matter how it sounds to certain people who don't have to live in that world, who don't have to be subjected to that world, that environment, I gotta speak on it. It is what it is, no matter how many of y'all don't understand and continue to not understand. So a few days ago, Corey did he did a video of him getting pulled over by this police officer who clearly should not be wearing a badge. And I spotted in that short clip, and I'm sure there's more to come, because they keep saying they have more footage, and after the resolution of the case, they're going to put this other footage out. So for those of you who fuck with Tall Guy Car Reviews and his channel, and I'm pretty sure y'all have all seen the clip by now, there are several things I picked out wrong about what that police officer did in that short clip that we were able to see. First of all, police officer, anytime they engage with the public, anytime they are, whether it's a traffic stop, whether you approach a subject because you're investigating a suspicious person or criminal activity, potentially, whatever it is, you are obligated to identify yourself as a police officer. Don't care what kind of uniform you're wearing. Don't care how visibly marked your vehicle is. You are supposed to identify yourself as a police officer. This cop walked up to the car and was like, "Give me your keys." Fuck you talking about? Like, who wouldn't have that reaction? See, the people who, because I was in the comments, and the people who say shit like, "Should have just gave him the keys. Should have just did what you were told." See, this is the part that y'all get twisted, because y'all are not from that world. And when I say from that world, I mean, if you don't have skin that looks like mine, that looks like Corey's, if you are not a black man in America, if you are not a black woman in America, you don't usually have to fear those types of interactions from the police. If you are not Hispanic in America, if you are not any other, shade of color in America, you more than likely do not have to fear these types of interactions by the police that we continually are subjected to. And this doesn't excuse it, but it's one thing to say somebody was engaged in criminal activity, somebody was, being aggressive, or somebody was, in the middle of doing something that they know they shouldn't have been doing. You still have, as a United States citizen, there are certain rights and there are certain legal processes called due process that you are afforded as a United States citizen. Because what too many of y'all don't realize and keep going past every time shit like this happens is, collectively, we do pay the salaries of these public servants, period. And just because you, as a police officer, ask someone to do something, and this police officer didn't ask, he just walked up to the car and said, "Give me your keys. Give me the keys to your vehicle that you own." You have a right to question that. Part of the benefits of you being a citizen and paying taxes is that you don't have to just blindly do what the fuck a cop says just because they say to do it. I know a lot of y'all think that because y'all are not exposed to that world and those negative situations. But no, you don't. You are allowed to ask a question. You are allowed to know, why am I being pulled over? Why do you want my keys? What is the problem? What's going on? You can't, just because you have a badge, walk up to me and say, do this, and I'm supposed to do it. And if I ask a question, I'm now non-compliant. That's not how that shit works. It's not. And when I see videos and when I see comments of people being like, well, you know, when this shit happens to y'all, if y'all would just comply, a lot of these situations wouldn't turn bad. It's the wrong attitude to have. It's entirely the wrong attitude to have. Because essentially you're saying that we don't have the right to be treated with respect. Anything in life, right? Anything. If you have a job, although you are responsible to do that job, right? The benefits of you having that job is that there are certain protections, right? There are labor laws. There are, you know, if you work in certain settings, there are OSHA regulations. There's laws against your employers discriminating against you. There are laws against sexual harassment. There are laws against, you know, you being taken advantage of as far as being forced to work too many hours. There are limits on different things. And if those employers don't abide by those rules, you have recourse there, right? You can seek out that protection that is in place for you to seek out. If someone breaks into your home or attacks you on the street and you feel threatened and you are not from that type of life where you are like, fuck that, I'm gonna handle it myself, because you don't fuck with the cops. If you come from that type of background, that's one thing. But if you feel the need to call the police for protection in situations where you feel threatened or like your life is in danger, you can call the police and they will come and protect you. The problem is the world that we come from, the world that we live in. And I don't mean being criminals. I don't mean being thugs and being out on the street. I just mean looking the way we look in America. Being seen as being, I'm 6'3", 270 pounds. I have to go out of my way to not look threatening. I have to go out of my way. People tell me all the time, and even though it's in a joking manner, you know how people really feel. People tell me all the time, oh, you look so intimidating. You know, I'm a nice person, you know, but you look intimidating. Because I'm a big dude. So 9 times out of 10, I got to be extra cautious to go out of my way if I have an interaction with the police, if it's a traffic stop, or if they mistake me for somebody else because I fit a description. Or, you know, not too long ago, you know, I was driving and got a little bit drowsy, so I did what I was supposed to do, pulled off the road so I could close my eyes for a few so that I'm not all over the road endangering other people. And in the state that I live in, you can actually be criminally charged if you knowingly drive tired, fall asleep, and fuck around and hurt or kill someone. You have an obligation, if you feel tired, to get off the road. So me doing the right thing, because I parked down the wrong street in the wrong neighborhood, and because somebody in their house who saw a black man sleeping in a BMW, and my windows weren't tinted, I didn't look threatened. I didn't look like I was casing houses and peeking into backyards. I wasn't doing that. But they felt the need to call the police for a situation that you didn't even need to call the police for. And mind you, granted, I didn't have any issues with that police officer. You know, he was very respectful. But it's just the fact that I could very easily have gotten one of those police officers who could have been on some dumb shit. You know what I'm saying? For me doing what I'm supposed to do. For me caring enough about the other drivers on the road to not want to put them in danger. And that's what y'all have to realize. It's not always, oh, well, if the cops are interacting with you, if they're pulling you over, if they're approaching you, you must have done something. No, that's the problem that y'all don't seem to be able to cope with. Is that when you look like us, especially when you're trying to do the right thing, trying to do positive things, you will have those people in those positions who abuse that power, who abuse that authority. You don't have to be doing anything wrong for a police officer who shouldn't have a badge to approach you and try to infringe on your civil liberties. You don't deserve that. And when that happens, you have the right to question it. Y'all got to stop with that shit. Yo, just comply. And no. Just because a police officer tells you something does not mean it's right. It does not mean that you have to, oh, yes sir, massa. Nah, that's not how we doing it. It's 2018. And we are still being treated by people as if we are 3/5 of a fucking human being. So what's free? Nothing out here. And you can clearly look at the clip in the video and see, how can you accuse somebody of racing when typically if two people are racing, they're side by side, right? And I, you know what I'm saying? Like, not one behind the other, following each other. Like, that shit don't even make no fucking sense. You didn't say they were weaving in and out of lanes. You saying they were racing. So if they're racing, why is one person behind the other one in the same damn lane? It don't make no sense. And then you pulled over the one car, and then his brother in the other car, because they were together, pulled over in front of him, which you see happen all the time. And then the cop runs up to that vehicle and asks him for the keys. You didn't even pull that man over. Why are you even asking him for his keys? There was so many things that went wrong in that video, so many things that shouldn't have happened. And the problem is, when I get in the comments and I see people being ignorant, and half of y'all, I'm not going to say that y'all are all racist who do that, because half of y'all truly don't know what it's like to be a black man in America. You don't know the fear, like Corey said, like his brother said, like, you have to go out of your way knowing that you're frustrated, knowing that you're pissed off, knowing that you're nervous, that you got pulled over for something that you probably didn't even fucking do. But you have to go out of your way to make this person feel comfortable because they have a gun, and you know that the way you look is a very real possibility that you can get shot for no fucking reason, right? Look, not even shot. You can get put in the police custody for no reason and may not ever make it out. Look at Sandra Bland. Pulled over for what? A lane violation? And the shit turned the way it turned just because she was frustrated by being pulled over and answered a question that was asked of her, answered that question, and ended up never making it back home again. This is the world that we live in. When we see these things happening to people who look like us, people who could easily be our brothers and sisters, or easily be us, and y'all wonder why we feel the way we feel. People don't have to lay down and continue to take this shit. And that's why the responsibility is on people like me and all of us who have channels like mine who speak on real shit. Because if we don't do it, if we stop talking about it, then it's never gonna be a change, right? It's already extremely hard to change the system because the system is currently broken. It's very hard to change that system. But at least with people consistently speaking on these things, letting it be known that, look, you can't just get away with this shit. We know about it. We speaking on it. You know what I'm saying? We all out here in support of each other. We all out here riding for each other. We got to keep doing that. Because this shit is nothing new. It's just that now, we all have cameras. Now, we're all blogging about this shit. We're all speaking on it. We're all getting each other involved. You know what I'm saying? There's protests and all these different things when these types of things happen. But that's hard enough. It's hard enough to fight against the system that's been in place for hundreds of years against people who look like me and come from, the same places I come from. That part's hard enough. But it's even harder when our peers, the people around us, the people who live in our neighborhoods, the people who, our kids play together, the people who, whatever. When y'all see these videos and you clearly look past what's wrong to try and point out what this person didn't do to comply or what that person could have done to make the situation easier, the responsibility is not mine. I did not swear an oath. I did not take on the job to protect and serve the community, and then I'm disrespecting the community. I'm infringing on people's civil rights. That's the responsibility of those police officers. When you choose to engage with someone, whether it's a minor traffic violation, a major traffic violation, a petty crime, misdemeanor, jaywalking, public drunk intoxication, whatever it is, when you take that first step to engage with that person, you have an obligation to be professional. I don't have that obligation. Of course people are going to be frustrated. Of course people are going to be pissed off. It's nerve-wracking. And it would make anybody anxious when you get pulled over. Of course it will. But especially the people who feel like they could lose their life in those situations. So you have the obligation as the police officer, knowing that. You're the one whose adrenaline is pumping. You're the one who, you know what I'm saying, is carrying a weapon that can end a person's life. 9 times out of 10, we're not carrying weapons. You see what I'm saying? Like, this shit don't make no fucking sense. It don't. And then when I see people get in the comments and say, well, you know, we watch Corey's channel. He's always speeding. He's always racing. So he must have been doing it then. I've watched just about every video on that channel. I have never seen him get pulled over for speeding, careless driving, reckless driving, or anything of that nature where he's denied it knowing that that's what he was doing. I've never seen him do it. And regardless of anything, the problem with this video that I have is, it's not about what he was doing before the cameras came on. It's about how that police officer approached that vehicle. He set the tone from the beginning. Your job as the trained professional is to keep that situation as calm as possible, to keep it from escalating, and to keep, so that everybody can make it home. Because if we were the monsters and the animals that they want to treat us like, and all of us had guns, and all of us were knowingly a threat to their lives, if I know that as a police officer, if I really feel like this group of people, these black people, are just so angry and I just feel so in danger and fear for my life whenever I have to engage with these people. If I really feel that way, think about that. Hold on. If I really feel that way, why am I going to antagonize a situation? Why am I going to purposefully amp up a situation that don't need to be amped up if I'm truly in fear for my life? It don't make sense. I would be more inclined to be a professional. I'd be more inclined to be patient, to be calm, to not want to agitate that person. But these are and then, it's sad that you always got to say, it's not all cops, Goes without saying. Nobody is saying that it's all cops. Nobody. When we say that, when we say the shit that we say, we're talking about the people who cause the problem. But in this fucking current dance in society, it's like you have to always think of, let me make sure I say it's not all cops, because the first person's gonna get in the comments and be like, oh, it's not all cops. We fucking know that. It's just like the whole Black Lives Matter shit. As soon as you say Black Lives Matter, you got somebody on the opposite side of that spectrum saying, all lives matter. Yeah, we fucking know that. And that's the point, is that you gotta say Black Lives Matter as a black individual, because you know that you don't fit into that all lives matter concept. That's why you shout Black Lives Matter, because clearly our lives don't. It's a fucking given that all lives matter, as they should. But the truth is, and I didn't even want to get, turned the fuck up in this blog, because it's a serious thing. The truth is, animals' lives matter more than Black Lives Matter. That's the truth. That's the truth. And I say it all the time on this channel. Every day I leave my house, I'm not going to the fucking corner to fucking sell drugs. I'm not going to you know what I'm saying, to the next block over to start a fucking gang fight. When I leave my house, it's to put my kids on a school bus, it's to go to work, or go out to the mall or to the grocery store or what have you. But every time I leave my house, it's got to be in the front of my mind that no matter what I do, no matter who I come in contact with, no matter what fucked up day some racist police officer might be having that day, if I should happen to get pulled over, my number one responsibility is to make it home. And I should not have to think like that. People like us, we leave the hood that we're born into, that we have no choice to be born into. Those urban inner city environments, those poverty-stricken places. we work hard as adults to get away from those situations so that we don't have to worry about that. And I live in you might as well call it the fucking suburbs, right? I don't live in Paterson, New Jersey no more. I don't live in Broadway, New Jersey no more. You know what I'm saying? I took myself out of those types of environments so that you don't have to worry about that no more. Only to have to worry about your life from the very people who are supposed to be sworn to protect it. And it's fucked up. So, I could go a lot longer with this. I could go a lot farther, but long story, a little bit less long. Tall guy, I fuck with your channel again. Continue to do what you're doing, man. Fight, continue to fight this case. Continue to, have your day in court. Because, despite the fact that people in the comments want to say shit like, you must have been doing something wrong, or, you should have just complied. We have a right to have our day in court. And the problem is, you know what I'm saying, too many of us are being stripped of having our day in court because we're being gunned down in situations where we're no longer around to speak for ourselves, and these police officers can say anything. Even when the video footage is clear, these police officers can say anything, and it's our word against theirs, and automatically, if you look a certain way, you come from a certain background, if you have a criminal record in the past, don't matter how young you are, don't matter how much you've done since then to turn your lives around, you're automatically criminalized. You can have people like Botham Jean, who can have a fucking record in sight, who was in his own home minding his fucking business, relaxing, from a long day at work, not thinking about being shot and killed by a police officer, and essentially had a police officer invade his home and end his life, and now he's no longer here. Now that's a son that a mother that has to bury. You know what I'm saying? Another potential father that kids have to grow up without. Shit is happening too often. So when these situations happen, see, I feel like we don't put enough outrage into the situation like this one here that tall guy is dealing with right now, because he didn't get shot and killed. You see what I'm saying? Like, he didn't get tased, put in a coma, or some reckless shit like that. You see what I'm saying? Like, we don't put enough outrage into these situations when really we should put more. We should put more support behind the people who made it out, so that we can ensure that more people make it out and it just don't continue to happen. Because once they're shot, killed, dead and gone, they can't speak up for themselves. That's when we want to march. That's when we want to do documentaries. That's when we want to stand up and say, you know what I'm saying, we need to stop this shit. No. We need to do this shit regardless. And to be real with y'all, and I've been wanting to speak on this for a minute, black people, y'all really got to get out of the mind state. I understand that y'all don't like police officers. I understand that when you come from certain environments, you're taught by those environments to not trust the police. I understand that. But y'all got to understand that there's a system in place. And the best way to change that system, if you can't rely on the government to do it, is to go to school for criminal justice. Get on the force. Become a police officer yourself. Because with more of us on the streets in those positions, wearing those badges, the more we understand our people, so the less likely these types of situations will happen. With more of us out there doing those types of jobs. You know what I'm saying? We don't have to accept things the way they are. But y'all can't also at the same time not be willing to fulfill the same roles and positions that y'all say the people who are in those positions are abusing. Because they are abusing them. So do something about it. You see what I'm saying? Like, we can give the whole concept of being a police officer a better reputation if more of us became police officers. You see what I'm saying? And this is not about, any I'm not trying to be preachy or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying that we have to find a way to get these bad cops out of these positions where they're legally able to carry and use their guns in any situation they deem worthy. And then only after we're dead and gone do they have to explain themselves. And then even half-assed explanations seem to be enough. We have to do something about it. We have to. And clearly, us continuing to argue with them is not working, because that's just putting us in danger. So, change the system from the inside. Tall guy, I rock with you. Continue to do so. Keep doing what you're doing. For everybody who fucks with my channel, appreciate you. Continue to do that. Like, comment, and subscribe if you're not already. I don't pretend to know everything. Just the shit like this really pisses me off. I just know what I know. Let me know what y'all think about this one, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace and love.